Geometry, angles. What is it? Study of size, shapes, position angles, and dimensions of things. Why? Helps in finding the best material and shape for erecting a building. Interesting fact, a female giraffe gives birth while standing up. The calf drops 2 meters or 6 feet to the ground, but it doesn't hurt the baby. So let's talk about the vocabulary. We're going to have 3 types of angles, acute, right, obtuse. Now these are the 3 angles we're going to talk about. There are more, but these are the ones that we're going to be talking about. Acute angle is an angle that measures less than 90 degrees. A right angle is an angle that measures 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is an angle that measures more than 90 degrees. So let's go ahead and talk about what an angle is. An angle is the measure of the angle between 2 arms. Now let's take a look at this. As you see, as it's opening up, okay, you can see that little green section. Now, but before we talk about that, the purple and the blue lines you see on the screen are called your arms, where the greens and then the corner is called the corner, or you may hear the word vertex. Now, and finally, the green section is called the angle. That is the measure between the 2 arms. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about what the measure is. So at this point, you can see on your screen, if you have that type of that distance between the 2 arms, your angle is going to be 30. And if we keep going, you have 45, you have 60, 75, and then if you have an L shaped with your 2 arms, you have a 90-degree angle. And then if you keep going, we have 105, 120, 135, 150, 165, and 180 degrees. Now, you may be wondering, what happens if it looks like this? What happens if it changes to that or changes to this? Okay, so, well, let's talk about it. The angles are the same size. Okay, why? Because the measure of the 2 arms is the same. So it doesn't matter how big the arms are. As long as the measure between the 2 arms are the same, then the angles are the same. Now let's talk about ordering angles from smallest to largest. So at this point, let's talk about the steps. Pick 1, pick the smallest angle, because that's what we're doing, because we're doing smallest. Step 2, compare to the others. And step 3, repeat. So if you accidentally pick not the smallest, that's okay. But in this, so let's just pick a random one. Let's go ahead and pick A. So I think that's the smallest. So now we're going to go ahead and compare A to B. And A is smaller than B, so we're good. Now it's smaller than C because you can see the 2 arms are squished more closely together. And then let's take a look at D. Okay, so as you can see, A is definitely the smallest as we compared it to all of them. So we're going to write A is the first one. Now we're going to go ahead and, so we're done with A. So we have B, C, or D. So we're just go ahead and pick, I think C is the next smallest by just looking at it. And then we're going to compare it to B, or rather D first. And then, as you can see, it is still smaller because the 2 black lines are squished together, closer together. And then, so we know it's smaller than D. So let's take a look at B, and we know it's smaller than B. So C is the next smallest. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look between B and D. And I think D is the smallest of the 2. So now we're going to go ahead and compare. So as you can see, the 2 arms of D are squished more closely than B. So definitely D is smaller than B. And then lastly, we have B because there are no other angles left. Okay, so now it is your turn. So go ahead and pause the video in order to put these angles in the correct order. Okay, so I'm going to show you the answers in 3, 2, and 1. Here you go. If you got them correct, well done. If you didn't, there's always tomorrow.